Hey, good afternoon again, SPC205. This is the second part of Lecture 4 on nonverbal delivery. I'm coming here to you from the underground bunker section of the COVID-19 compound for a real quick talk about how we deliver a speech physically. We're going to talk about how you put all the words together and how you develop ideas next week. But right now, what I want to talk to you about is how you should physically deliver your speech. A couple of things we want to talk about is that your physical behavior is going to show if you're comfortable, if you're scared, if you're in command of the environment, if the audience is going to be able to rattle you. And again, when we go back to talking about things like be animated and act like you care, your physical delivery is going to show whether or not you are caring or if you're just faking it. Okay? So let's start off right off the bat. Talk about your posture. Your feet should be shoulder width apart. Okay? Knees slightly bent. If you're giving a 4 to 6 minute speech and you lock those knees and tighten up all these muscles in your thighs, you have a chance of having the blood circulation cut off from your legs and you can pass out. So feet are shoulder width apart, knees are lightly bent, back is straight, arms are to the side, and the head is up. Okay? That's a real simple, and you should always start from here. Okay? Where do novice public speakers normally start from? Okay, they start from by putting their one foot back, because this, for those of you who have ever taken defensive shooting, is a defensive posture. Okay, you're only going to be able to hit me on the sides. You can't hit me in the chest. Okay, they'll bring their arms up. They'll hold their cards like this. They'll drop their chin to their neck. And for all the intents and purposes, you are now a professional boxer. Okay, that is a defensive position. Okay, this is a defensive position. This is a defensive position. This is a position of, well, we know what this position is. Okay, especially with those of you who go out and have too much fun on a Saturday night. There you go. Okay, that is a position of surrender. So, how do we stand? Our feet are shoulder width apart, give or take a little bit. Our knees are lightly flexed. The back is straight, the head is up, and the hands are to the side. Okay? Now, I will say this. The hardest part of all of that is going to be keeping your hands to your side. I'm going to say this over and over again to you. These cards have a special magnetic capacity. And once your hands touch those cards and you get both hands on those cards, you will never release them. Okay? So don't do that. You need to keep your hands out to your side, away from your chest, to show that you're open and not defensive. Okay? Let's talk about eye contact. Eye contact is very simple. You need to act like you're having eye contact. Do you need to have eye contact? Yeah, okay. You need to look like you're making eye contact. You do need to be aware of what's going on with your audience, because remember what we said, it's a dialogue. Dialogic theory demands that you have engagement with the audience, and you can't do that if you're not making eye contact with them. Two specific things I want to talk to you about. Number one, make eye contact with the entire room. Now, in this environment where we're talking to a phone, okay, it's going to be kind of hard to make eye contact with anything but the phone. Okay, but this is sort of an academic point for us. We're not going to be able to practice it very well. But what happens is you will see someone then they'll pick out somebody in the audience that's giving them positive feedback. And I've seen this in audiences of 200 where that one person is going, And so the speaker then begins to not give a public speech, but have an interpersonal communication of it with that individual. Okay? I have been the individual on the receiving end of that, and it gets creepy. Just don't do it. Okay? Make eye contact with the entire room. You can fake eye contact. In Aiken Technical College, at our lovely campus there in lovely Graniteville, South Carolina, there is a 7 concrete blocks up, breeze blocks up, there is a seam between the 7th and 8th course of bricks. If you follow that seam, you will go just over the head of every single person in the room. Okay? Now, is eye contact important? Absolutely. Because think about it, when you have a conversation with someone on a date and you're like sitting there going, yeah, sure, I'm really concerned about that. I really think that that's important, and I'm really believe that your feelings are mad. People are just going to get angry with you, because eye contact is how we tell whether or not you're being sincere and whether or not you're really engaged in the conversation. Okay, I'm going to say something now that you really need to listen to, okay? The three most important things about movement while giving a public speech. Number one, all movement should be deliberate. Number two, all movement should be deliberate. And number three, all movement should be deliberate. Okay? What does that mean? Okay? When you gesture, it should be for a point. You shouldn't just be randomly waving your hands around. You shouldn't be locked in like this. Movement is very important to communicating your ideas and to maintain your contact with the audience. But it should always be done for a specific purpose. Okay, and that goes to all nonverbal communications, including your vocal rate, your voice, everything. Okay, but specifically, let's talk about movement within the speech of the body. Okay, first thing, simple. Let's talk about what your gesture is. Simple gesture. You're standing here, feet shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent, back straight, head up, shoulders back, hands to your side. Simple gesture. You raise your hand out here, and then you gesture over here away from your body, and then you bring your hand back down. I want to make this clear that we are very concerned about the fish populations in Clark Hill Reservoir. Okay? That was very simple. I want you to understand that we are all in this together, and we can all work toward a solution. Gestures should be at least waist high. Have a lot of students that do a lot of gesturing down here. Today, I'm really concerned, and those gestures are lost. In the classroom environment, it's very easy to see that when you gesture down there, all I have to do is write. I couldn't see any of your gestures because there would be someone sitting in front of me. But also, if you're gesturing down here, that shows you don't care. Well, I don't care. But if you gesture here and push the gesture home, okay, it shows that you're engaged. Okay? Palms up. Keep your elbows or palms out to the side. Keep your elbows relaxed when you gesture. And also when you're using two note cards, no more than 4x6 in size, it's a great way to look at your notes. You're holding your notes casually in your hands. By the corner, do not palm them because it looks like you're trying to hide your notes. Do not hold them in between your two hands like this because that's a defensive gesture, okay? When you're holding your notes by the corner, you've written up and down, and I'll show you a set of note cards I used in a speech when we get to the informative speech. You hold your notes by the corner. I want to look and see what's next. I just go. And so my next main point is going to be, and then you're gesturing, and then you put it back down to your side, okay? All right, so let's talk about clothing, all right? Because that is nonverbal communication. Let me tell you a little story about a guy I knew in college. We called him Slash. This was in the early 1980s, and Slash was seriously into the Clash, the Sex Pistols, the Police, back when the Police were really a punk group before they went mainstream. The Dead Kennedys, he knew all those guys, okay? He walked around all the time wearing a black trench coat, ripped up blue jeans, tucked into combat boots, and a t-shirt that was all ripped up. And then Slash would occasionally show up at parties with a safety pin stuck to his cheek. Slash, and his hair was usually a mohawk of some sort in varying colors. One color, it would just change regularly. I graduated from Auburn, went away to the Army for a few years, came back, and I'm walking down campus. I'm a graduate student. I'm teaching public speaking. And this guy comes walking up to me wearing khakis, a blue button-down shirt that is starched within an inch of its life, and leather lace-up shoes. And he walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, how are you?" And he calls me by name, and I'm like going, "Hey, buddy." You know, this is what we all do when we don't know who we're talking about. "Hey, buddy, how are you?" And he went, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And I went, I gotta admit, and no, I don't. Please don't be insulted. I've been out off campus for a couple of years. I don't remember. He goes, "Oh, well, I graduated in '84 right behind you." He told me his name, which made no difference to me whatsoever. And I'm going, "I'm sorry." He goes, "You knew me as Slash." And I'm like going, "Oh my goodness, what happened to you?" And he said, "Well," and again, this was in the early 1980s when Auburn had one of the very first computer engineering curriculums there were. graduated a guy named Tim Cook at that time, former friend of mine, now CEO of Apple. Slash looked at me and said, I went for an interview with IBM. And IBM said, hey, listen, great. I need you to know, here's the dress code that you're going to be expected to abide by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it said, collared shirts when you're going outside, when you're not exercising. Button-down shirts, white shirts at work with a blue or black suit. And it was just, and I said, wow, Slash, why'd you give up Slash? And he goes, because IBM offered me $85,000 a year. Now, $85,000 back in 1985 was a hell of a lot of money, okay? IBM understood that when you go out from Big Blue, they want you to look like you work for Big Blue, even if you're on your off time, okay? We look at people and see their clothes and we make assumptions about who they are, okay? I'm the father of 2 daughters, and every time I go to the mall and I see that couple walking around, there's the young lady that's wearing a very nice dress and nice shoes, and she's got her hair done, and she's walking next to a guy wearing jorts and Crocs. I just get really angry at that guy, okay? Step it up, all right? And here's some advice about when to wear Crocs outside to a public speaking event. Don't, all right? Just to get that out of the way. Okay, so pay attention to your clothing and what you want your clothing and attire to communicate. For this class, I am not going to expect anything from you, okay? As long as it's appropriate, as long as it's not offensive, you're fine, okay? But when you're out there in the real world, I have been doing job interviews, and I have decided not to hire people solely on the clothes they're wearing. If I have 2 people that are equally qualified, and one came in wearing a suit, and the other one came in wearing blue jeans and a golf shirt, okay? The one wearing the suit showed me more respect, so they get hired. Okay? Also, for this class, no hats. No hats while you're giving a speech. In fact, it should be a rule for you, unless you're a professional baseball player, don't ever wear hats in a professional environment. Here's why. What you have a tendency to do is you grab the bill of that cap, you pull it down, you drop your head down, and you're literally physically putting a barrier between you and your audience. Okay? So no hats. Okay. Now, let's talk about this 2-minute speech you've got coming up. You will be allowed to use note cards. Here's what I expect you to do in this speech. You will start with saying, today, I am going to talk to you about, and then you tell us what you're going to talk about. You will not start with hello. You will not start with hey. You will not start with good morning. You will not start with my name is. Speeches are deliberate, and we are going to start being deliberate with this speech. So you will start with, today I am going to talk to you about. You will talk to us for about a minute and a half, minute 40 seconds. Then you will finish your speech with, today I have talked to you about, and you will tell us what you talked about. You will then not say thank you. You will not say I appreciate you listening to me, and we'll discuss why that is later. But do not end your speech in this class with thank you or I appreciate your time. And I'll tell you why later. Okay. You will be standing. Your feet will be shoulder width apart. Your knees will be slightly bent. Your back will be straight. Your head will be up. Your arms will be at your side. Unless you're looking at your 2 note cards no bigger than 4 by 6. You will not put your hands together. You will not grasp your cards. Your hands will be at your side unless you're gesturing. That's very simple. And I told you earlier in the lecture from my office, which is in the other part of the COVID-19 compound, that I would tell you how to get max points on all your speeches when it comes down to physical delivery. And that is it. You will stand with your feet shoulder width apart, legs, knees slightly bent, back straight, head up, hands to your side. And if you do that, and here, I'll even give you a concession. Want to put a hand in your pocket? Put a hand in your pocket. Just don't jingle your keys. Okay? But don't sit down. Don't slouch. Don't put one foot behind the other. Don't cross your elbows and do this. Okay? Keep your camera up high enough so that your head is up. Okay? And if you have any questions about any of that, okay, you can email me. I'm going to send out an announcement, and it will be included with this lecture that runs all this down as well, so you will have it in writing. And then I will open up the discussion board so you can start posting your 2-minute speeches. Oh yeah, one other thing about 2-minute speech. For you to successfully complete this assignment, this is a 2-minute speech. It has to come in between 1 minute and 45 seconds and 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Time your speech. If it doesn't come in that 30-second range, redo it because you won't get credit for it. We're starting to put structure. This is not talking in front of people. This is a public speaking class, and we're going to start putting structure into your speech, and you're going to start being deliberate while you're doing public speaking. Okay? Again, you'll see an announcement. You won't see this until the announcement's out anyway, because I'll have to send you the link. But in any event, there'll be an announcement about this out later on by the end of the day. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. All right. That's nonverbal delivery of a speech. Please stay well. Contact me if you have any questions, and we will see you soon.